So let me go to Sean Puffy Combs if I can for 1 minute. Let me go to Sean Puffy Combs if I can for 1 minute. Let me go to Sean Puffy Combs if I can for 1 minute. Now, we've been down this road before when we discussed R. Kelly. We've been down this road before when we discussed Bill Cosby. We've been down this road before when we discussed R. Kelly. We've been down this road before when we discussed Bill Cosby. First of all, you low vibrational Negro-pean Democratic Party plantation roaches, let me say this to you. Let me say this to you. I do not support Donald Trump any more than I support Kamala Harris. To you low vibration, politically uneducated Democratic Party plantation roaches. You're not even slaves anymore, you're roaches. I don't support Donald Trump any more than I support Kamala Harris. I don't support either one of them, so please stop the cat. Please stop the cat. Please stop the cat. Now, what we see going on with Sean Puffy Combs, who doesn't appear to be an angel by any stretch of the imagination, but I want to draw a very, very clear distinction here. For you low vibration Democratic Party plantation roaches, I want to draw a very clear distinction. Being a freak is not against the law of the United States of America. Being a sexual deviant is not against the laws of the United States of America. Having 1,000 bottles of dollar store baby oil in your home is not against the laws of the United States of America. Last time I checked, President George Washington was so being a sexual deviant is not against the law in America, because America's greatest heroes and presidents in sexual deviance. I want you to understand, overstand, and understand. How we doing, young sisters? Y'all be careful out here. So I want you to understand, overstand, and understand what I'm saying right now. Okay? If being a sexual freak was a crime in America, you would have never heard the name of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. Let us be absolutely clear. Didn't Bill Clinton get fellatioed in the Oval Office? Did not William Jefferson Clinton commit adultery and get fellatioed in the Oval Office of the White House and then lied under oath? True or false, brothers and sisters? True or false, brothers and sisters? True or false? Did William Jefferson Clinton, did he or did he not get his phallus gummy beard in the White House Oval Office? Did or did he not get gummy beard by Monica Lewinsky in the White House? Is not illegal in the United States of America. 1,000 bottles of dollar store baby oil is against no law in this country. Is Diddy a freak? Quite possibly. Is he a sexual deviant? Quite possibly. Does he belong to the Rainbow Gang? Quite possibly. But I'm looking for evidence that he broke a law. I've been watching some of these Caucasian news streams. I've been watching some of these Caucasian news streams. I've been watching some of these Caucasian news streams, and what I find most interesting, CNN, CNBC, Fox News, even when I read the New York Times, the Philadelphia Inquirer, USA Today, the LA Times, what I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around, brothers and sisters, what the Prince of Pan-Africanism is having trouble wrapping my mind around, is they say that he beat and he stomped out Mrs. Cassie Ventura, which the video clearly proves, in which I will not support nor defend. He stomped her out. They proved that he had 1,000 bottles of baby oil. They proved that he be having freak-offs all over the country, particularly in New York, Miami, and Los Angeles. What I have yet to hear is any evidence that Sean Puffy Combs is guilty of a federal crime. Let me explain something to you low vibration Negroes. Let me explain something to you low vibration Negroes. The federal government does not prosecute sex crimes. The federal government does not prosecute sex crimes. Sex crimes are prosecuted by the state. But Sean Puffy Combs was arrested by the feds. I want you to listen up real good. I want you to listen up real good to Dr. Umar Ifatunde Oguntade. I'm going to say it again for the Republican Party plantation slaves, and I'm going to say it again for the Democratic Party plantation slaves. The federal government does not prosecute sex crimes. Sex crimes are prosecuted by the state. The U.S. Constitution does not discuss sex crimes. The United States Constitution does not discuss sex crimes. So now, Sean Puffy Combs is not being indicted for sex crimes. That is not the primary charge, because the federal government does not process sex crimes. He's being charged with racketeering, conspiracy to engage in crime across state borders. In other words, sex is the object, but it is not the subject. I need y'all to understand what I'm saying. When the government prosecuted the Italian mafia, when the government prosecuted the Italian mafia, when the government prosecuted the Italian mafia, it wasn't because they were selling dope and engaged in embezzlement and things like that, extortion. It's because they did it across state lines. Once you engage in crime across state lines, it is now a federal crime. So it is not the sex per se that got Puffy arrested. It's the fact that he's being accused of doing that and other things across state lines. I need you to understand, overstand, and understand. I need you to understand, overstand, and understand. The federal government does not prosecute sex crimes. The federal government does not prosecute sex crimes. But if you are engaging in a federal crime of any sort that crosses state lines, if you are engaged in any kind of a crime that crosses state lines, the feds are now involved. He is not primarily being charged and indicted over sex crimes. Murder is involved. Racketeering is involved. Extortion is involved. And most pointedly, for you low vibration Negroes, let me be very clear. He is not being charged with domestic violence against any woman. He is not being charged with a federal crime for stomping out Mrs. Casey Ventura. And I'm sorry that happened to that young lady. No woman should ever suffer that type of abuse at the hands of a man. His major sex crime in the federal case is not the freak-offs. It's not beating on women. The sex crime against Puff Daddy in the federal case is the transport of women across state lines for sex. Let me say it again. It is not domestic violence. It is not. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. Sean Puffy Combs' federal charges have little, if anything, to do with domestic abuse or. His major sex crime federally is he's being accused of transporting women across state lines to engage in sex. What we call prostitution. Not Casey, not the freak-offs, not underage girls, but prostitution. Why am I bringing this up? because I don't support prostitution either. I do not support men paying for the sugar box. I do not support black women having to sexually exploit their sugar box in order to pay their bills. With that being said, prostitution is the oldest female business on the planet Earth. Prostitution is the oldest female business on the planet Earth. Prostitution is the oldest female business on the planet Earth. It is the sexual trafficking that Sean Puffy Combs is being accused of. Not domestic abuse, not freak-offs, not stomping out Cassie, not engaging in sex with underage women. It is interstate sexual trafficking. That is the charge. Why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up, peace God, because when I listen to the news, they're not talking about the evidence against Sean Puffy Combs. When I listen to the news, they're not talking about the evidence of Sean Puffy Combs. When I listen to the news, I have yet to hear anybody give me a specific piece of interstate sex trafficking evidence against Sean Puffy Combs. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it for the low political IQ Negroes. I'm going to say it for the average political IQ Negroes. And I'm going to say it for the high IQ Negroes. I haven't seen or heard a single piece of evidence against Sean Puffy Combs. I ain't read it in the New York Times. I ain't read it in the Philadelphia Inquirer. I ain't heard it on CNN. I ain't seen it on headline news. Where is the evidence that Sean Puffy Combs engaged in interstate sex trafficking? I keep hearing about Cassie when I turn on the news. Why are we hearing about Cassie when Cassie has nothing to do with the federal indictment? I don't think any black man should have 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I don't think any black man needs 1,000 bottles of baby oil. But I haven't seen anywhere in federal law where owning 1,000 bottles of baby oil is a federal crime. Brothers and sisters, are you with me so far? Brothers and sisters, are you with me so far? Do you understand, overstand, and understand what the most requested black scholar in the world is saying right now? Do you understand and overstand and understand what the most requested black scholar in the world is saying right now? Do you understand, overstand, and understand what the premier Pan-Africanist on the planet is saying to you right now? Baby oil is not a federal crime. Stomping out Cassie, he was not charged with a crime. The freak-offs are not crimes. So why do we keep hearing about Cassie? Why do we keep hearing about baby oil? Why do we keep hearing about freak-offs? Where are the federal charges, and why are the charges being sealed? Why did the feds seal the charges against Sean Puffy Combs? I'm going to tell you one reason why the feds sealed the charges against Sean Puffy Combs. One of the biggest reasons they sealed the charges against Sean Puffy Combs is because the evidence is probably weak. The evidence is probably weak. And because the evidence is probably weak that he is guilty of interstate sex trafficking, and because the evidence is probably weak that he is guilty of interstate sex trafficking, they had to seal the charges. They had to hide the charges from you and I. They had to hide the charges from you and I long enough for the public execution to be carried out. Are y'all listening to me right now? For all my political scientists, I need y'all to listen to me. Most black people are too emotional to engage in a rational, logical argument about this situation. Most black people are too emotionally immature and politically uneducated to engage in a rational conversation about this topic. So I am only talking to Africans with a high EQ and a high PIQ. Only if you have a high emotional IQ and a high political IQ, I'm talking to you. The emotionally uncontrolled and undisciplined Democratic and Republican Party plantation slaves, this is not for you. My feminists, this is not for you. Beta males, this is not for you. Why is it that the charges are not being disclosed? Because they need Sean Puffy Combs like Bill Cosby, like R. Kelly, and R. Kelly very well may have been guilty. But we know R. Kelly is not in jail for sex crimes. R. Kelly is in jail because he didn't want to sell his publishing and his masters to a certain company. And Bill Cosby went to jail because he didn't want to let the oil company drill under his house in Massachusetts. One thing is for certain, two things is for sure. Sean Puffy Combs is not in jail for sex crimes. He may be guilty of sex crimes, but he's not in jail for sex crimes. He may be guilty of sex crimes, but he's not in jail for sex crimes. The reason the charges are sealed is they are weak, but they still need Puffy's reputation to be completely destroyed. So even if he beats the charges, nobody will ever allow him on a respectable platform again. This is a public media execution of another black male mogul. I don't care how you feel about him personally. I don't care how you feel about him emotionally. I don't care how you feel about him privately. The reason I'm speaking up, out, and against the lynching of Sean Puffy Combs, the reason I'm speaking up, out, and against the public execution of Sean Puffy Combs isn't because of Sean Puffy Combs. I don't know that man. I've never met that man. I can't say anything about that man. But I do know there's about 20 million black men in America. I do know that. I do know there's about 20 million black men in America who can't afford the lawyers that Puffy can afford, who can't afford the publicists that Puffy can afford, who can't afford the legal defense that Puffy can afford. So I'm not speaking out for Sean Puffy Combs per se. I'm speaking out for all black men, because any black man can be unfairly charged and unfairly executed in both the public court and the legal court. Let's go back to R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. Let's go back to R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. Let's go back to R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. Notice how the public media lynching began before we knew the details of either case. Y'all remember that? Bill Cosby, we didn't know anything about that case, but he was still being lynched in the media. R. Kelly, we knew very little. How you doing, beautiful? We knew very little about the R. Kelly case while he was still being lynched in the public. Sean Puffy Combs right now is being lynched in the public, and we ain't got no details. You know why? Because the United States government knows something that black people still can't comprehend. The United States government understands something that black people still can't comprehend. The United States government is very clear about something that black people still don't understand. If you want to destroy a black man, you don't do it in the courtroom. You do it in the court of public opinion. If you really want to destroy a black man, you don't do it in the courtroom. You do it in the court of public opinion. Look what they did to Michael Jackson. Look what they did to Michael Jackson because he wanted to buy Marvel Comics. Look what they did to the great, legendary Michael Jackson, highest grossing artist in human history. The white boys came out after he was already assassinated by the music industry. White boys came out and exonerated Michael Jackson, but it didn't matter. His credibility was already done. What I'm saying, brothers and sisters, what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, they know what they're doing. They know black people love to see successful black people fail. They know black people love to see successful black people suffer. They know black people love to see successful black people taken down. Whether it's Michael Jackson. Peace and love, African. Good to see you, man.
I'm gonna follow you always.
Appreciate that, brother.
I ain't gonna even ask you about public.
I'm talking about it now on the live.
Do your thing.
Yes, sir. All right, God. One love, one love, one love. I don't need to be careful, my brother. I don't need to be careful. One thing about me, I need you to understand this. I am not a celebrity. I am an African freedom fighter. I need y'all to get this. I may have celebrity popularity. I may have celebrity notoriety. I may have a celebrity following. Dr. Umar Ifatunde is not an actor. I'm not a dancer. I'm not a basketball player. I'm not a football player. I'm not a comedian. I am not a celebrity of any type. I am a Pan-Africanist freedom fighter. I am a revolutionary Pan-African nationalist, so I don't have to watch what I say. I don't have any handlers. I don't have Caucasian handlers. I don't have Arab handlers. I don't have Latino handlers. I don't have untouchable handlers. I don't have Kamala Harris's people handlers. I don't have handlers of any kind. I say what I want to say. I say what I want to say. I don't scratch if I don't itch, and I don't dance if I don't like the music. You talking to a free black man. You talking to one of the freest black men you'll ever meet in your life. You hear me?